очікували оперативну інформацію з місць проведення антитерористичної операції. І вже зараз полковник Андрій Лисенко, речник інформаційного центру.
So, Colonel, okay.
Lysenko, the National Security and Defense Council Information Center spokesman, with the latest update from the ATO zone. Прошу, пане Андрію.
Доброго дня, шановні колеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The active combat actions between Ukrainian forces and terrorists who try to hold the control over Donetsk, Luhansk, Gorliivka, Pervomaysk, Ilovaisk, and Krasny Luch are continuing. Over the last day, Ukraine's armed forces 27 times exchanged fire with terrorists near those settlements Орлова, Іванівка, Красногорівка, Мала Іванівка, Петрівське, Червоний Яр, Придорожнє, Ясинувато, Трудівське, Христофорівка, Авдіївка, Березова, Іловайськ, Кутейнико. The situation on the border with Russia in Luhansk and Donetsk region remains complicated. In particular, the checkpoint Uspenka in Donetsk region again was shelled from artillery, mortars, and Grad batteries. Luckily, there are no losses among border guards. However, the infrastructure of the checkpoint is completely demolished. The Russian Air Force continues to violate Ukraine's airspace. Yesterday, at around 8 p.m., the border patrol of the department Krasnotalivka Luhansk detachment watched the intrusion of 4 Russian drones. Yesterday, the border patrol of Berdyansk detachment saw the violation of the airspace of Ukraine by a Russian helicopter from the temporary occupied Crimea. There were also 4 facts of the violation of airspace at the administrative border from the side of Crimea and in the Sea of Azov. In Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia region, the Russian and terrorist information sources disseminated a next provocative information about the defeat of several units of armed forces of Ukraine not far from Savur-Mohyla Mount Hill. We officially say that this information is absolutely disformed and does not correspond to reality. The Ukrainian military continue to hold the height under control and are repelling the counteroffensive of the militants. We understand that in this way the Russian special forces try to overcome panic among terrorists. There is fear and the desire among terrorists who as soon as possible leave the places of their location and save themselves on the territory of the Russian Federation. In Donetsk and Gorliivka, they try to forcibly mobilize local population. There is information that almost 300 militants in Luhansk are already taken off the banners of the so-called Luhansk People's Republic from administrative buildings. In Inakivo and Gorliivka, Chechen mercenaries are leaving the cities. Almost 100 representatives of local criminal gangs who are still there are chaotically firing at residential blocks and local population. The terrorists have also mined the bridge between mines Standart and Yunkom next to the settlement Nizhnya Krinka, close to Inakievo. In Stakhanov, the armed militants captured 2 UAZ and 1 VAZ cars. The representatives of the DNR terrorist grouping are falsifying documents, issuing fake documents in order to leave the anti-terrorist operation zone. And we have the information that the main part of militants plan to leave Donetsk region by 18th August. The terrorists are donning civil clothes. They take only passports with them and try to leave the territory under the disguise of peaceful residents. Only during the last 3 days on the road checkpoints next to Debaltsovo, Donetsk region, and the National Guards have detained 13 people aged between 20 to 45 who are suspect of terrorist activity, among them a field commander of a Luhansk terrorist grouping. We have to note that detention happened due to the information that we gained from the local residents. Starting from the 6th of July this year, Ukrainian forces have defused 11,256 units of ammunition. They have checked 687 administrative buildings, and the territory they checked amounts to almost 800 hectares. As the result of emergency meeting of the EU Council on Foreign Affairs that happened yesterday in Brussels, there were conclusions about the situation in Ukraine. The document, among other things, contains appeals of EU to the Russian authorities to immediately stop any combat action in the military action next to the border of Ukraine. They also support all the sides in their help to the work of international humanitarian organization. EU addressed all the sides with the appeal to broaden the monitoring mission OSCE to objectively report about the state of things in Hukovo and Donetsk crossing points. The General Secretary of NATO, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, confirmed that a convoy of armored vehicles from Russia entered the territory of Ukraine. Rasmussen says that yesterday night NATO watched the violation of Ukrainian border by a military convoy. And this is corroborated by the fact that we see the constant influx of weapons and fighters from Russia to the east of Ukraine, Rasmussen said. He said also that the intrusion of armored vehicles does demonstrate that Russia continues to destabilize eastern Ukraine. Any questions? Could you tell us what's the situation about the military convoy that entered the territory of Ukraine? As the administration of the president said, most of the convoy was demolished, but the American intelligence does not confirm this. I wonder whether they were really destroyed, and if so, then how? About the situation in Luhansk and Donetsk, do you confirm that there's street fighting going on there? I have to tell you that if you're talking about the humanitarian convoy, it is now in the city of Donetsk, and Ukrainian border guards and custom officers who have to check the documents at noon today have not received no papers yet about the cargo from representatives of the Red Cross. As far as the convoy of armed vehicles that intruded on the territory of Ukraine yesterday night, I may tell you that part of the convoy was destroyed by Ukrainian artillery. As far as Luhansk is concerned, we do not shell them from artillery, and we do not work on them from air. Yes, there is some street fighting going on. The land operation is continuing of our special units. Thank you. traditional question about the losses. It is very bad that this is a traditional question. Let's try to eliminate this tradition as soon as possible, but I must tell you that 3 Ukrainian military servicemen died last day and 13 got wounded. Could you give us more detail about this convoy from the Russian Federation, the armored vehicles? We do not provide detailed information. Most of the convoy of those armored vehicles was destroyed. So my last question is, how the evacuation of people from Luhansk and Donetsk region is going on? How humanitarian corridors are working? The humanitarian corridors are working in the designated time. However, we do not have a schedule now. If there's an opportunity for local residents to leave those places, Ukrainian authorities representatives and the state of emergency and this emergency service are ready to meet them and to transport them and provide them with any help. I repeat that in Luhansk region, corridors are in Shastya and Svatovo, and in the Donetsk region, this is in Dachne settlements. Yeah, it was noted earlier that you have destroyed Russian military convoys before, or is this the singular case? The matter is that, this was a traditional route of movement of armored convoys to the territory of Ukraine, and Ukrainian military were able to destroy most of those convoys. However, the help reached the militants. The situation now is different because the cities are encircled and they cannot get reinforcements. So there is panic there, and militants are trying to leave the cities through some small holes in the encirclement. But why this information about this convoy became so prominent? The matter is that our colleagues from foreign publications witnessed how this convoy without any hindrance went to the territory of Ukraine. And the international journalists asked why this convoy is entering the territory of Ukraine and what is the role. And we have the information that in Rostov region, everyone who is filming military objects and military convoys will be declared spies. So we were able to raise the question of illegal crossing of the Ukrainian border by armored vehicles of Russia due to foreign journalists, and due to them the world community was able to see that this does happen, not only from our official sources. Could you tell us, you said that by the 18th of August the terrorists plan to leave the territory of the anti-terrorist operation. Yes, we have such information. We still don't know why this is going to happen on the 18th. We may only guess. Thank you. And if there is another important information, we'll hold the next briefing at 5 p.m. Please follow our information on our Facebook page. Thank you.